On today's Movie Talk, we are discussing some Disney Plus titles you can watch on launch day. And then if you don't have Disney Plus, we still got you covered on Netflix. And then a whole big grab bag because we're talking about all the random stuff we've binge watched recently. Hello, everyone. I've been wearing this shirt since Friday, and it's fine. No, I'm not messing with you guys here. This is a pre-taped episode of Movie Talk because we are not in the office on Monday for Veterans Day, but we still wanted to deliver some Movie Talk your way, and it feels like a big time to be talking about movies because tomorrow is a very big day in the industry. It's the launch of Disney Plus, so we are going to run through a whole bunch of recommendations there, maybe on Netflix, and wherever else we find titles that we're passionate about. And I get to have this conversation with two of my absolute favorites, Mark Reilly and John Rocha.
Hello.
How do your shirts smell? Are you guys okay?
I'm good. Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there, my fellow servicemen and everybody who served and made the ultimate sacrifice. Happy to everybody. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. Relax. Take some time to yourself. Don't rush yourself like other people we know who have pain in their legs. Don't push yourself.
Stop that.
Be relaxed and enjoy your world and enjoy your day. This is for you.
Should I not have gone to the gym last night?
Did you go to the gym? Perri.
I did.
You ran 26 freaking miles.
So I took 3 days off, and then I did the beginner. I did the beginner class, so it was just like learning the motions again.
Listen,
I don't know.
You need heating pads, you need rest, you need couches, and you need binge-worthy shows that we are going to talk about.
I don't say this often to you guys.
We're right.
All right. So the first topic we're going to discuss today is Disney Plus. It launches tomorrow, and there is so much content you can watch on launch day. So we have gone through the list, and each one of us has picked something that we either have seen already and love, or something that we have yet to see and are very excited for that you could watch on November 12th. Reilly, you're up first. What you got for us?
Well, I know everybody would expect me wearing this shirt to say The Mandalorian, but you're all going to watch that. So let's go back to the archives. Let's go back in time and get excited about some movies that maybe you forgot that Disney actually owns and produced. And that would be The Rocketeer. That's right, The Rocketeer, Billy Campbell, a young Jennifer Connelly. We have one of the greatest action movies, comic book movies. I love this movie. It's so nostalgic for me. I watch this thing over and 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 over again. Joe Johnston directed this thing. It's coming to Disney Plus. It's going to be one of my first stops because I love this movie so much, and I haven't seen it in many, many years.
I have not rewatched The Rocketeer in forever.
Yeah, you got to rewatch it just for Timothy Dalton's performance in this movie as like an Errol Flynn kind of character, you know, an actor, but that he has some sinister motives. I'm not gonna ruin the movie if you haven't seen The Rocketeer. There's been rumors that they were gonna do The Rocketeers, a sequel, but now I believe there's gonna be a Disney Plus animated series. Okay. So get excited for that. I certainly am, but this is the one that started it all, where you can see the progression in Joe Johnston's directing, where you watch The Rocketeer and go, yeah, I think he could do Captain America, the First Avenger. Yeah. And this kind of started it all for me. I love this movie.
Solid recommendation. Rocketeer fan? Not?
I've never seen it.
Holy mother!
Yeah, it's one of those gaps. It's one of those gaps in my film viewing experience. Somehow I've survived and won 4 titles in a certain competition without having seen the film or being asked about it.
Respect.
So I'm very lucky in that way. But yes, but I know all the characters in it. I know all the actors in it, and I think I've studied the plot and what happens and the twists and turns of that movie just in case.
I love how you're
but
like
I've never seen it.
your trivia abilities right now in your assessment.
All right, yeah. Who else is in it? Who else is in it? I gave you Billy Campbell. Timothy Dalton.
What year was it released?
Jennifer Connelly, 1992.
Close, 1991.
Okay.
Alan Alda. A young and Paul Sorvino.
Paul Sorvino.
Can you believe that?
I don't think he was young.
Terry O'Quinn. Yeah, he was. Paul Sorvino's never really aged, actually. So he's about the same. He just walked out of the womb, and there he is. Jennifer Connelly, I mentioned. Timothy Dalton. Yeah, Paul Sorvino. And dude, I'm trying to. It looks like it's. I'm trying to find who it is, but it's a big giant guy that is just like the big lug, the big thug that you have to fight. Like he's a classic comic book villain kind of guy.
Oh, nice.
It's just one of those movies. It's so great. It's so great. You would love it, Rocha. I think you would love it.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
I think it's definitely long overdue for a rewatch also. Yeah. So we'll watch and rewatch, and then we'll reconvene. Rocha, you have an interesting choice. That's
I
something
do.
different from what Reilly just picked.
Absolutely. I wanted to look at something that they're dropping that's new, that they're doing. And because, of course, they went through that whole Twitter thread with millions of films that are coming out on Disney Plus,
I know.
which was very
like
fun.
Perri.
Huh?
Like Perri. It's a squirrel, right? The Disney.
Oh, that's right.
It's
Yes.
funny
Oh,
'cause
that's right.
Like Perri, the
people have
squirrel
sent
one.
that to me time and time again because it's also really weird that they spell it like I spell my name, but
Yeah.
I've never actually watched it. I'm afraid the squirrel's gonna die or something, and then I'll get sad like Bambi.
I think you should do a watch along on your channel for that thing.
Can someone just let me know before I agree to that if I'm going to be really sad after it?
Well, you have to wear a squirrel costume, though, a squirrel girl costume.
There
or
has to
something.
be a squirrel like onesie or
Oh,
something.
yeah,
out there.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah, furries
If
are-
I can find a squirrel onesie and I can get the all clear from the viewership that there's nothing devastating in it, I will do a watch along.
There you
Nice.
go. I like that idea, but that's not my film. My film is a Christmas film.
What?
I don't know. Look, all I can tell you is I saw the trailer and my stupid little heart woke up.
Okay.
Noel is the name of the movie. It stars Bill Hader and Anna Kendrick. Billy Eichner's in this thing, Ron Funches, the great Julie Haggerty from Airplane, and of course, the legend Shirley MacLaine. As Kris Kringle prepares to retire as Santa and pass on the reins to his son Nick, the stress of his future role begins to get to Nick when his sister Noelle suggests that he take a weekend off. Nick abandons his job completely. Noelle faces the world outside the North Pole for the first time when she follows him, trying to convince him to return to work. Blah, 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 blah.
Hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues, hijinks, all that kind of jazz. But I love the fact that, look, Bill Hader with Barry, with what he did in It Chapter 2, this is Bill Hader's time. This is a Hader-sance, or no, Hader's time. I get Hader Prime.
Hader-sance?
The
Hader Prime.
Bill-a-sance?
No, it can't be the Bill-a-sance because he had to have gone away. So to me, he's in the Hader Prime directive right now. Everybody wants to see everything
Peak
he's
Hader.
doing. Huh? Peak
Peak
Hader. That's
Hader.
it. He's a peak Hader. That's what the kids are saying. Peak Hader. And he is doing so many great. I love that he's part of this. And Anna Kendrick. And it seems like she's going to be singing some songs. This is her jam, these kinds of movies. So to me, it hits all the right tone. And who doesn't want a new Christmas movie that you can enjoy yourself? I did with Last Christmas with you, like it or
I
not.
knew you were gonna bring it up.
And I will say this, I just like the idea of something really fun and interesting. Both of these actors I love and enjoy. And it's got a little bit of a, kind of an Arthur Christmas vibe to it as well, which I like.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sold. Did this one start planned as a theatrical release and then
Sure
they got
did.
shifted
Yeah.
over?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this thing I think it was actually developed and shot in 1985. It's been that long.
Then it
It's
is a
been
Hader-sance. Then
Yeah,
it is, yeah.
it's been a very long time. I think it actually shot. It was like 2016
Yeah, I
or
feel like
around
it was
there.
a very long time. That's the only thing that gives me any kind of hesitation. And it's like, are we even in a time anymore when you have to say, like, when straight to DVD was a thing and you knew
Yeah.
if a movie went straight to DVD, it was garbage. But I feel like with streaming services, that's not necessarily the case anymore.
Certainly
I've
not.
heard some nice things about Lady and the Tramp, which I have to finally watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to watch that.
I'm definitely going to catch that. Mark Lawrence directed this thing. He did Miss Congeniality.
I like that movie.
He did 2 Weeks Notice. He did you hear about the Morgans?
Okay.
You're losing me.
Quentin Tarantino said, I'm a big fan of Mark Lawrence. In an interview with Sunday Times, he has a perfect leading man quality to him. There you go.
All right.
All right.
Like,
Sure.
as in Quentin Tarantino saw Noelle, or you're just reading a random quote from another
No,
movie?
I'm saying Quentin Tarantino said this about Mark Lawrence in the Sunday Times. He said he's that kind of guy. He's a leading man as a director.
Okay.
So I give him,
Well, if QT
Christmas, damn
vouches
it.
for him,
Hey, it's a
okay.
Christmas movie. I mean, you
I know.
gotta
It's an
get
easy sell.
festive, right? You know.
Look, I'm
I
not gonna lie.
get it.
There are some misses on this resume of his. I'm not gonna lie, but
Have you
I'm
guys,
hoping this is a hit.
Have you guys done anything to kind of like ring in the holiday season yet? Put any kind of decoration up?
God, no, it's way too early.
Can I tell you a terrible true story, actually? So I came home last night to a notice on my door saying that by something like November 9th, I have to remove the decorations from my door.
By November 9th or January 9th?
Oh, no, like the dates, yeah.
Yeah.
January 9th.
Okay, so
No. Like November 9th. Like I have my Halloween decorations.
Oh, Halloween. Got it.
Perry,
What?
you should have removed it November
One,
2nd.
the pumpkin skeleton stays up on my door year round.
Oh, that's fair.
It has since I moved out here, so
Right.
for 3.5 years. But it's also like I have a freaking pumpkin by my door. Are you kidding me? Am I not allowed to keep a pumpkin there?
Doesn't that bring flies and insects and stuff like that once it starts to
Pumpkin is
decay?
perfectly fine when
Okay.
it does.
It
start
hasn't
to,
been carved.
No,
It's just a
when
pumpkin.
it starts
So
to
you have your Thanksgiving decorations then.
But like what I'm a little more concerned about is this a new building policy where you're not allowed to have decorations at your door? Because their little memo said in order to preserve the community and like the continuity of the look or some crap like that. I don't know, it made me so mad. What building bans decorations?
Look, this is how it works when you live in a complex like you live. They have order and they have all this kind of stuff.
That's absurd.
I know. I don't agree with it.
I've lived in many apartment complexes over the course of my life in Manhattan, and I've never seen such an absurd rule like that.
That's because they're crazy in New York.
Makes me
Perri.
so mad. So mad. But you know what makes me happy? My pick right now, because it's one of my absolute favorites, probably of all time. It is a childhood favorite that I could probably recite almost every single line of dialogue from right now, and it's coming to Disney Plus, and it's gonna be there on day one. And oh wait, I think I sent them a different one.
Yeah, you did.
I was gonna say Heavyweights, but the other one that I really. Do you know how many times I changed it back and forth? What did I really pick?
Perri ran a marathon
Adam, I'm
a few
so
days ago.
sorry. I'm not all there right now.
So that movie Noelle, right?
About
I mean,
Noelle.
what are we talking here with
also
Noelle?
so awkward because like my tee up couldn't be more like polar opposite of the other one. With the real one I chose was Free Solo.
Yeah, I'm looking at the title. I'm like, nothing matches up to what you're saying.
What's wrong with me?
Oh my God.
But Heavyweights is available on Disney Plus, and obviously that was a big sell for me. The movie I'm talking about right now, though, is one of my favorite movies from last year, and it was Free Solo. I think that anybody who is into like risk-taking kind of things will be absolutely fascinated by this movie. Just the art of free solo climbing, risking your life, but the passion to do something like that. But it's not even just about, thrill seekers getting a thrill out of watching somebody else do something like this. It's about how passionate Alex Honnold is about this. I mean, you could just feel it in the movie that this hobby is like flowing through his veins. He's well aware of the risks. He knows how it affects the people around him, but it's an undeniable truth about him, and just someone so passionate about something like that will always speak to me.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And
I have
so-
yet to
so
see this
will-
movie, so I need to see it.
So will campers jumping off a plank and onto a blob.
Oh my
Ben Stiller's
Lord.
in that one, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Oh, look, a deli meat. No? Like when he raids the bunk?
I have
Guys.
never seen Heavyweights.
Guys.
Okay.
I think maybe have I?
You're killing me.
Yeah,
might
I
have
know.
seen it.
What's that?
You might have seen
I've
it.
probably seen it. I just can't remember most of it.
You
so,
really need to rewatch it.
well, after The Rocketeer, I'll look right into it.
I'm fairly confident that it holds up too. Like I
Okay.
do.
Does it work?
Obviously, I do wonder if nostalgia is a factor with me because I've been watching it since I was a teeny tiny child. But I don't know. I still find it very funny.
It's about them losing weight, right? At this camp?
Yeah, the kids.
So there's
go
no
to-
body shaming or fat shaming in this, is there? 2019, it was very sensitive about that.
Not
so.
that I can specifically remember.
Okay.
For all I know, there's a line of dialogue in there that someone would consider offensive today, but
Right.
I don't know. Like it's always, and I think it's inspired me to like stay fit, do activities, but also like go to camp and have a group of friends and be supported by that group of friends.
Yeah.
Whereas like Ben Stiller's character is the jerk that comes in and
Right.
kind of like pressures them to do all this crazy stuff.
Which
in
is
order
worse?
for him to meet his goals.
Which is worse, his character in that film or his character in Dodgeball? Which is the worst villain?
Or his character in Happy Gilmore is pretty awful too. The Orderly.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's
He's
right.
terrible in that.
Right.
That's right.
He does a good villain.
I would actually, I would say that it's either the character in Happy Gilmore or Heavyweights because. Like, I feel like you could push around athletes and they could take it, but like you push around the old folks or the kids, and that's not
Right.
cool.
I agree with that.
I mean,
That's
you
fair.
push around anyone and it's not cool, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I
I'll
do.
check it out. I promise.
Glad we got past that.
Heavyweights
that
got her
issue.
to run a marathon.
Yeah,
Who knew?
yeah, there it
and
is.
rip her hamstring. Who knew?
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah,
All
remember,
right.
what are you going to do after movie talk? That's right, rest.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go sit on the couch. Dewey's gonna be thrilled. All right. So we wanted to include some options for you just in case you're not signed up for Disney Plus, which, hey, I get it. If you want to wait and see how people respond to it before you commit to it, all the power to you. But there is a chance that you might have Netflix. So right now we're each going to give a Netflix recommendation just in case that is your streaming service of choice. Reilly, back to you on this one.
Oh my Lord. This is a Netflix original. It's out right now. If you haven't seen it yet, please, it's one of my favorite movies of the year, and that's Dolomite Is My Name. Eddie Murphy is back. Eddie Murphy is back, folks. Craig Brewer directs this. It gives me great pleasure in watching this and knowing that Craig Brewer is also going to do the sequel to Coming to America. I know sequels way after the fact haven't always been well received. Sometimes we don't catch that magic again. But if anybody can do it, it's Craig Brewer based on this. And Eddie Murphy's performance in this is it's so good. I mean, I cried at the end of this movie. The feeling you get, all of us here, everybody out there that might be watching this thinking, am I too old to make it in this industry? Am I too old? Has it passed me by? Whether it's producing, acting, writing. This man, Eddie Murphy, does it. He just never gives up. He creates that alter ego in Dolomite, and it's his journey of how he made these wonderfully ridiculous movies that then took off. And then you have a great supporting cast, Keegan-Michael Key, Mike Epps, Craig Robinson, Davine Joy Randolph, who's fantastic in this, Cody Smith-McPhee. Oh my God, Snoop Dogg is in this thing. Snoop Dogg has a great first scene with Eddie Murphy. This is a movie that I just highly recommend. It's funny, it's charming, it's heartwarming, it has a great message at the end, and Craig Brewer just knocks it out of the park. It's on Netflix.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's great. I watched this actually on my way back to New York for the marathon. I downloaded it and took it with me, and I was almost kicking myself after for not having seen it sooner because I missed it at a couple of festivals. There's so many reasons to watch this movie if you like movies about making movies, for some of the themes that you brought up, Reilly, but really anybody out there with a dream that might seem like a lofty goal and you've been told no, this is the movie to motivate you. And it goes back to like the idea of just, almost getting a rush out of seeing somebody else's passion for what they do. Them all coming together and to finish that film.
It's so fun.
You take some of it with you when you walk away. And I love feel-good scenarios like that.
Absolutely. The one guy you haven't mentioned, Wesley Snipes.
Wesley
almost steals the movie from Eddie Murphy.
He absolutely does.
Right.
He
He's
has
so
a great part in that. Yeah, good call, Rocha.
And it's a good thing for you to mention too. Rudy Ray Moore. I mean, this is everything you hit on. The fact that he was an older guy, the fact that he was like struggling and fighting, and there's so many great moments of actual emotional breakdowns by him after he meets up with the guys. And this is early in the movie, so not a spoiler, but he sits at the cafe and he goes, "Is this what my life's about? Is this what I'm gonna do with the rest? Is this where I'm at?" And how many of us haven't asked this who aren't like making multi-millions of dollars? Is this the best I'm going to be able to do with my life? We've all had those conversations with ourselves, no matter where we're at this point in our lives. And so it brings it into that universal reality and then shows what he can do when he embraces what he wants to do really and pursues it with all his heart, and things open up for him. And, that's the thing. That's the greatest thing at the end of the day. It's about having a dream come true. So I totally respect the fact that you got emotional at the end there.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
Rocha, you're up now.
Yeah. Let's break it down. You couldn't go further away from Dolomite Is My Name than The King. This awesome period piece. I loved. Listen, Henry V is maybe my top two favorite Shakespeare plays. So to see them do a version of Henry V, not the Shakespeare play, but a historical approach to it with Timothée Chalamet, who I've been told by Haley everybody is very thirsty for, to see him playing Henry V was awesome. Joel Edgerton is not your standard typical rotund, obese Falstaff, more of a Falstaff who's lived in and haggard and has been to the battles advising Harry. And Robert Pattinson shows up to give you just a flavor, a taste of the level of acting ability he has now as the Dauphin. He is fantastic as the French king's son. Ben Mendelsohn is in this thing as Timothée Chalamet's dad, Henry IV. So it's 2 hours and like 15, 20 minutes. The battle scenes are incredible. The costumes are fantastic. The way this is shot is so phenomenal. So overall, I'm telling you, The King is a fantastic time for, if you're into these kinds of movies, if you're into period pieces like this, and if you want to see some great acting from Chalamet, who, listen, he can, he's a wayfish guy, but damn, he brings a massive level of talent to play whenever he plays a role, and certainly does it here.
Nice.
David Michaud, right?
Hey, David Michaud directed this thing,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
he's great. I still haven't watched it yet, but I mean, by the time you guys watch this episode, I might have, because
Yeah.
I was hoping to watch it this weekend.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Dolomite came first, though.
No,
Yeah,
it's fair.
I want to see this, but we'll get to my binge-worthy stuff. There's a reason why I didn't check out The King yet, because I was
Okay.
binging something.
That's
enough.
fair. That's
so,
fair.
but I can't wait. Everything you said, Rocha, when you say, like, I trust you and your opinion on this kind of stuff, and it looks fantastic. I watched the trailer last night. We were like, do we want to watch this now? I can't wait to see it, because I love these period pieces. And Pattinson, I'm not surprised. This guy, I can't wait for him to be Batman.
It's kind of a medium epic that takes its time. And
I
so
love
I'm like,
that.
that's
Great.
a brilliant thing, in my
Okay.
opinion.
I'm into it. All right. I'm going to get this right. I'm looking at my list. I can't mess this up this time. My Netflix recommendation is an older film, and if you listen to The Witching Hour, you might have heard me mention this before, and it's Headcount. Reilly, did you ever watch Headcount?
I don't think I
You
did.
should watch this movie.
Okay.
So, after the bummer that was Slenderman, which was a terrible movie, and also the bummer that was Channel Zero coming to a close, even though we got 4 wonderful seasons, I was really in the need of a movie or a TV show, something that embraced the creepypasta vibe. And in case you don't know what that is, it's stories that circulate online, and as you pass them along, they build, they morph, all that kind of stuff. And that is essentially what this is, a group of kids out in the middle of nowhere just like having a good time partying, and they tell a campfire story and creepy things start to happen. And it is just such a well-executed, micro-budget kind of film. I believe it's a first-time feature filmmaker, Elle Callahan. I think this is her first feature, but I saw this at the Overlook Film Festival, and it was my favorite of the entire festival. And that's, that's a festival where Jarmusch's last movie, The Dead Don't...
Yeah, the zombie one.
Help me.
The zombie one with Bill Murray and Adam Driver.
You don't know the title
The
either.
Dead Don't Come Back?
The
Is
Dead
that-
Don't Die.
The Dead Don't
Or,
Die,
I don't
that's
know why
it.
I had a brain fart on that one, but I really think this is like an incredible debut feature, and it's something that really, takes an interesting story and runs with it. And, even though, I guess no, actually, it kind of like passes the baton to you after, because I do remember walking around New Orleans uttering the name of the entity that they bring up in their story. It's something that you really take with you, and I think it's a great watch, and it's on Netflix.
Wait.
Nice. I got to check this out.
Were you uttering it because you wanted it to show up?
Because I was like, I was just like messing with people.
Yeah. Perri wants to summon demons everywhere she goes. I know it. I know you get all interested whenever I have
do.
ghost stories.
I love hearing
Like
your
I
ghost
always tell
stories.
Perri, it's
Yeah.
like when in my old place in Long Beach, whenever the TV would come on, just be like, why is the TV come on? Perri's like, should we go over there and ghost hunt?
I
And I'm
get
like,
jealous. Haley
Yeah.
and I were recently talking to someone who was suggesting, if you close yourself off to it, then you won't have those experiences. But like, I am just open. Bring it on. I want to meet you, but it just doesn't happen.
I'm open to it, and as Collider Live fans know, my grandmother's house, she rang the doorbell the other day, and that was something. That like when the doorbell rings and nobody's there, and it's a back door that nobody has access to. Give me a break. What was that?
You have the real ones. I get the fake ones. So first, I was woken up in the middle of the night by my printer printing something.
Well, that's
Then
weird.
It's weird until you look at your clock and you realize there was a power surge, and that's why it printed something. And then last night, in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, I heard like bang. And I thought, like, I don't know what I thought. I thought someone was at the door or something. And I walked out, and it was just a poster that fell over. And I was like,
okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Most people would be relieved. And I'm
Just
like,
no
nothing exciting
ghost.
is happening. What is my life?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna hide
We're
in
going to
that
move
bunker.
on. We have one more list of recommendations for you. But before we get to that, I got to tell you about some cool content coming to the YouTube channel, like Rule of Two. Here's a promo.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. You looking for a Star Wars fix? Well, Rule of Two is that show. It drops on Collider Video's main YouTube channel, as well as on Podcast One's Jedi Council feed. So go over there, subscribe, share it with your friends. It's hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. We talk everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of deep dives and a lot of conversations that go all in. You know what to do. Subscribe, join us there, and rise.
All right, next. I hope people heard that.
I'm sure they did. I just don't like looking at myself.
You're judging your own promo.
I am.
I do the same thing when the Witching Hour one comes up. We have one more round of recommendations here, and it's, a free-for-all. Doesn't matter the service, anything at all. I need to know the last thing that you guys binge watched. Reilly, it's back to you.
Going back to Netflix here, this is a series now, a limited series of 8 episodes. And one of the most powerful kind of knocked me upside my head when I realized my fiance found this and started watching the first episode. And I sat down working and then got slowly pulled into it. And we binged it over this past week. And that's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's on Netflix right now. It stars an amazing Caitlin Dever, Toni Collette, and Merritt Wever, who are... The 3 of them are fantastic. There are 2 things going on in this series that you need to know. One is like a true crime series where there's a serial rapist out there, and this rapist is not just your everyday Jesus. It's one of the worst things you can possibly imagine. They know how to leave the crime scene completely free of any kind of evidence. And not only this, travels outside of jurisdictions to avoid capture. So you have 2 fantastic performers in Toni Collette and Merritt Wever as the detectives on the case. But then you also focus on Caitlin Dever's character, who is one of the victims, and nobody believes her. And she is forced into a conscious, like whether or not to just, you know what, I'm just going to let it go away, and or, you know, do I lay into this and actually fight for the fact that I was raped, I am in need of help, but it's the politics of that small town, the police kind of looking the other way. It's a horrible, horrible thing that I believe happens every day in this kind of society, and it's all brought together in this 8-episode series. My God, it's powerful. It's one of my favorite binges of late. I could not turn away, and every time I got home, I would look to my fiance and go, unbelievable? Yeah, and we would have to get back to it. We just finished it last night.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I happened to have watched the first episode of this, and granted, I had flown into New York on a red eye and hadn't slept, so I was a little tired when I was watching it, but
Sure.
like it didn't really hook me from episode 1.
Okay.
Do you think that's a reason for me not to continue, or is it something that's going to dig its claws in as I go along?
It's going to dig its claws in you as you go along, and I can understand maybe not getting hooked on the first episode, because I got hooked, and then there was kind of some things that happened, and I was like, okay, and maybe I looked away a little bit, but maybe it was episode 2. Once you get into the aspect of the true crime, which I know you like, that's what really got me, and then the performances started to really pull me in, and it was heartbreaking to watch Caitlin Dever just as her name is Marie Adler in the series. It's a powerhouse of a performance, and I just adored her for this. The risks she takes as an actress. It will dig your claws in you. It will challenge you. It will make you look away. But I love it when series and movies do this, where they make you kind of face the horribleness that's out there in this world. So it is a highly recommended binge series on Netflix right now.
Yeah, we ripped through it in one day. We canceled.
Wow.
We canceled a social event that night that we were going to go, my girlfriend and I, because we were so just entranced. And you're right, Perri, to feel like the first episode's a little weird. It's because they're setting up her story. Then they're going to jump back and forth in time to the rest of the series.
Okay.
It's because it's a real true case that happened over 3 years.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's a true case.
Holy, I missed that.
So those 2 detectives, they come together. And the thing is, it's not, you think they're going to come together and no, they come together and they battle for, like, they're both alpha ladies from 2 different points of view. One's super religious, the other one is not.
Right.
So they battle about how to handle this idea of going forward and pursuing this rape case. And one is a little more sensitive, the other is more driven to achieve the goal. And you see their partnership develop over time. And there's one scene near the end of the movie or it's in the series where they're walking and you're like, this is alpha ladies getting shit done. And you're just like, wow, this is incredible. Watch Merritt Wever and Toni Collette come together and just take care of the situation. And it isn't that what you would think, that like simple, like you should have known. It's more complex and more layered.
There's so many
which
layers.
Makes it more human and real. And I loved that about the series. Incredibly well acted. Yeah, and Caitlin Dever, my God, there's an Oscar waiting for her down the road.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll circle back.
Yeah, you have to. It's a really, really powerful piece of a series that completely missed me. I had no idea. And Julie, my fiance, just watched the trailer and went, oh, this looks interesting. Yeah. And I think that's one of the best kind of cases when you realize, like, you find these things without hearing about it and you're like, whoa, and it just sucks you in. So.
All right, Rocha. Now, what is your binge watch?
Well, moving completely to a different place.
Hey, let's lighten it up, please. Yeah.
Living with Yourself was my most recent binge
Nice.
on Netflix, on a service that people have, Netflix. My other binge is a British service, but I don't want to get into that. But like, Living with
Blinders?
Yourself was fantastic. Huh?
It was a Peaky Blinders.
No, I already finished that. It's
Okay.
something called The Bay, and it's only on BritBox, but it's fantastic. But Living with Yourself is from Timothy Greenberg. He wrote on The Daily Show. He's a Peabody Award-winning, Emmy Award-winning writer, and he created this series. Paul Rudd is in this thing. Ainsley B, I think that's how you say her name. She plays his wife. And what happens, the basic premise is this. This guy is in a marriage. They're both like it's pretty much heading towards divorce. Paul Rudd, the character, he's in this midlife kind of crisis. He sees a workmate of his all of a sudden be in a way better place in his life. And he asks him, what's it all about? A workmate slides the name over, and it's this spa in this like cheesy old strip mall. He goes in there. What happens is they create a clone of you, and that clone lives out the rest of your life with all your best aspects on the front of that clone.
Wow.
The problem is you're supposed to die. Paul doesn't die, so it becomes about him confronting his clone and figuring out how to live his life with his clone and with himself. So living with yourself has multiple meanings. Living with yourself or living with yourself. It works on so many levels. And Ainsley B, I think that's her name. She is incredible. She is another reason to watch this. Her journey of understanding what is happening, and then when she's confronted with what's happened, and I'll spoil this a little bit. She starts to like the other version of him a lot better. And what does that bring into the situation?
Great.
So much is explored here about relationships, humanity, and about how you can confront the negative aspects of yourself and bring out the more positive aspects of yourself. And even if you can, does that mean you're a better person or not? So there's so much that Timothy does in his writing. And I will throw this in. I got to interview him about him on the Collider Interviews YouTube channel. Great interview with him. He went into what motivated him to make the show.
You sold that very, very well.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've seen the billboards and the posters and everything, and I'm like, nah. But like, you kind of got me with that.
It makes you think.
Okay.
And it's so good. And Rudd is great. He's so charming.
How long is each episode?
I think it's 8 episodes, half an hour each.
Half hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfectly
Easy
done.
binge right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My pick, and I'm only through season 1, so I haven't completed my binge yet, is Succession. And I don't really think there's too many like deep meaning things in here. I just kind of enjoy hanging out with this empire that's the Roy family and basically watching them screw each other over. Really, my sister keeps trying to convince me that there's redeeming qualities in some of them, and like she's a Kendall fan, she's rooting for him, but like they all suck. They're all terrible people. They're just screwing each other over. I mean, their closest loved ones, they're like standing right there, basically eager and willing to pull the rug out from under them to get what they want any second they can. This is a fantastically acted and shot show, and it's kind of got that quality that they're all terrible, and you're sitting there watching it and you're saying, don't do that. Like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? But there is something magnetizing about them that you just want to keep living in the Roy family world.
Yeah.
I am endlessly fascinated by it, and that theme is hands down one of the best theme songs I've heard in recent years. Every single time it kicks in the opening credits, I get all hyped, and then when it comes in during the actual episodes, it re-energizes me all over again. I cannot get enough of this series.
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's on my list because now this thing, I didn't even know this thing existed. People started talking about it already on season 2, especially on Collider Live. A number of people on Collider Live were like, "Oh my god!" And I've heard this, so I got to get in on this. You haven't seen it?
I've seen one. I saw the pilot episode the other night. My girlfriend was out 30 minutes in. She's not going to come back to it, but I was in by the end of the pilot, and I'm like, okay, I need to see more about these people and about this family and the lunacy involved in it.
It's a very good pilot, but I think some of the best assets of the show come from getting to know the family members so well.
Yeah.
Their place within the company, their place just in terms of their relationships, then the extra relationships that surround them, and some of the periphery players, all of whom they might not have as much screen time as the main Roy family, but they all have a whole lot of weight to swing around. And it's just one of those shows that keeps you on your toes every single minute because you never know what someone is willing to do and when. And they all have so much power that, I mean, everything could implode right before their eyes. It's fascinating.
Nice.
Fascinating.
Okay.
And it makes me super happy that I don't work for a gigantic corporation. Like, is it even worth it if people behave like that? I hope not, even though I'm sure many do. All right. Before we say goodbye to you guys, we had Dorian pull a couple Twitter questions that I haven't read yet, so I'm going to read them right now.
All right,
let's see what happens. David Dranow asks us, what would you think is the best franchise or type of movie to cast each other person at the table in, and what kind of role would you think they would excel in? Rocha, you're in a period piece. You're in like The King, something
down
like
with that.
Like
I'm down with that.
Like I feel like you need like swords and sandals or like knight armor or something like that.
That's fair.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Perri, I'm putting you in a Scream-like
please.
horror movie franchise. You're the
Cool.
final girl. You're going to kick whoever that slasher's butt is. You're going to crush it. So
I
that's
feel good about this.
Yeah. Okay.
You like that?
Yeah. For Perri.
Here's what I got.
Okay.
Coming this fall. She's overworked. She's stressed, and she's trying to do things together. What's going to help her find love? A romantic comedy with Perri Nemiroff.
Rocha.
That's the perfect one. Because who would think? Because Perri's always doing so many things. Who's going to break the cycle of Perri doing so many things? A man coming into her life, bumping into her creation
No, I got
with
it.
his fellowship and love ensues.
I got it. The movie takes place over a marathon.
Oh,
The
all
meet
right.
cute is the beginning of the marathon, and it's the rom-com happens through the marathon.
Yes, they move closer into the
And then
film
one
scene.
is going to run
And- yeah,
forward,
yeah.
no, and then the other,
This
and then
could have happened, but rather than making human friends right before the race, I was at the therapy dog tent,
Which
and
is where I'd
I
be.
showed you the beautiful lab that I met. Oh,
I
that
know.
was like the nicest thing in the world. But put like the tagline for this idea should be "Must love cats," or actually
Must
take
love
it back.
cats.
No, cross that out and just
Okay.
do "Must love Dewey."
Must love
Must
Dewey.
love Dewey.
Yeah.
Done.
Because I'm
Done.
highly allergic to cats, so I probably shouldn't have any more of them in my life.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Perri. For Rocha, I'd put in like a Braveheart kind of period piece. I would see you in that. That's
Sounds about
pretty
right.
cool. And well, of course, and a Western. I
Yes,
mean, come
well,
on. I would want you in
come
a
on.
Western as my
Okay.
fellow
Yeah.
five horsemen here. The outlaw deserves that. A little quick draw. I could see him taking some people out. I don't know. What you got for
The
me?
easy answer for you would definitely be Star Wars and being a Jedi.
Yes.
But I
What?
have another idea.
Okay.
We need the Reilly version of High School Musical or some sort of
Oh, boy.
musical sitcom where every couple of minutes Reilly breaks out into song and dance.
I mean,
And it's about like you making it as a writer in Hollywood. Right?
Sure. I mean, I have sung in my life. I'm fairly decent, but I'll take it.
Okay.
But the first one though, the Star Wars, yeah. I'd like I'm gonna circle that one there. Give me a lightsaber. That's all I
Pages are
want.
gonna come today.
I know.
Here's
my lightsaber.
Here's what I got for you, Reilly.
Oh, okay.
A prequel. A Jurassic Park prequel. Reilly plays young John Hammond, discovering
Oh, I'm kind of jealous now.
discovering this ability to create the dinosaurs. It's like the beginning of the process.
Ooh. Okay. If
Gets
I may,
hired by that
if I may,
company. Yeah.
then the first, instead of like, in Jurassic Park, we get there and the dinosaurs are there. And it's like, well, where were the first dinosaurs? Where was that first dinosaur that didn't pass the test?
Right.
Oh no.
And there was like a prequel where young John Hammond, and it's like mutant dinosaurs
was
that came
gonna
out with
say,
like 3 heads.
we're
And they're
getting
like,
into-
whoa, we didn't get that one right. We got to kill it, but it escaped.
This is a horror movie right now.
Exactly.
It works.
Boom. Young John Hammond, horror, mutant dinosaurs, because he didn't get that right cocktail together of the DNA. Mr. DNA wasn't even in this yet.
This idea feels better suited to book John Hammond rather than movie John Hammond,
Right,
but
right,
I'm
right.
still into
Yes.
it.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
with you on
Good
that.
point.
But young, I'll put on all white. I'll get the hat. I'll put on a little bit of a limp and get a cane. But I cannot wait. Mutant dinosaurs, 3-headed, coming at you. Lots of horror. I'm in.
All right.
Good one, Rocha.
I like
you got gold picture.
Let's try to get one more in the mix here. I think this is a fun one. Fans of Collider, a big shout out to that Twitter account and that group of individuals because
Yeah.
you guys are so supportive of the show, and please know how much we appreciate that. They're asking if you traveled to Oz and you got to see the wizard for a favor, what would you ask for? It could be anything.
I mean, Mr. Oz, I need a lightsaber, please. Just keep going to
Okay.
Star Wars. Let me think. So Scarecrow needed a brain, a heart for Tin Man, courage for Lion. Dorothy wanted home.
I was about to get very, very specific in my pitch.
Do it.
do it.
I was thinking something along the lines of like having like a Collider interview show that I get to host that's like bought by, like a Netflix or an Amazon or something like with like big fancy stuff.
Yeah.
But then you're like courage and a heart and all that.
Well, I mean, it's like, do you go the metaphorical route of like, courage? You already had it, Lion. Come on, you did. You
Wait,
did.
so we each get a long answer, but we each get a one-word answer.
Okay.
Lightsaber.
Well,
That's one word.
financial stability. That's
There
2
it
words.
It's 2 words, but we'll give it to you.
You're confusing me. You say you don't want to work for a big corporation, but you want your show to be bought to work for Amazon and Netflix.
Well,
Those are
I
big
just mean
corporations.
someone with like deep pockets who can give us all the money in the world so we can visit like
get it.
incredible creators
Yeah.
anywhere, no matter where they are.
There you
And
go.
it's so like, everybody here can work on like one really cool big show together. I don't
I
know.
like that idea.
I like-
That's called financial stability. I think
I
that
guess,
works.
There it is.
maybe I should have changed my answer to
I think
that.
it all works.
The other one I thought about is family. If I could have the wizard snap his fingers and somehow convince my whole family to move out to California,
That's good.
I'd be good.
Is there any? Could the wizard resurrect anyone? Like, I mean, are we talking like?
Now you're getting real deep.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the wizard. I feel
it's
like
the
he can do
wizard. So can I
anything.
say, hey, I want my best friend Cal back?
Oh.
Can we do that?
Bad choice.
I mean,
That's fair.
if we're playing with house money here,
That's
I mean,
fair.
I want.
That's fair.
Hey, there's Cal. Cal.
I think we would all pick
Hey,
that.
buddy.
That's fair.
Yeah. Don't cry, everyone. Everybody's
yeah,
fine here.
Jesus
it's okay.
Christ,
It's okay.
Riley.
It's okay.
Wait, what was the long answer? Do we have a long answer? What was your long
think-
answer? Cal? What was
Cal.
your
Like
long
I
answer?
rattled on about some sort of show.
Here's my long answer. Here's my long answer. To retire to a beautiful house on the English East Coast with my girlfriend and be able to take care and live a great rest of my life.
There it
That
is.
would be what I'd like the wizard
You
to give me
can't
immediately.
retire. I don't believe you can retire.
I got to retire. Perri.
Your version of retiring, though, is having every other thing you just said, but while you could make 500 podcasts while you live in this wonderful place.
That's fair. I'm still going to have a lot to say. That's
Yeah.
fair. As long as I have a studio at the bottom of the house. Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, Perri, you nailed it.
okay. One silly
Nailed it.
thing each. Silliest thing you could think of.
Silliest thing from the wizard?
Damn. Yeah. Fantasy football win. Done.
Boom.
Okay.
All right,
wanna beat
that's
Jack.
fair.
Can that power of flight? I don't know. Can I so I can
Oh,
fly?
that's a better
Oh,
one.
to be president.
To be present. Okay.
Is that?
I don't know what this assortment says about us right now, but we gotta go. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the good recommendations and then all the nonsense that followed. Reilly, Rocha, thank you so much for doing this
Thank you,
today.
Perri.
It is always a pleasure. Cody in the booth, thank you for your help. Same to Dorian for picking all those great tweets because that was fun. Guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we will be back live tomorrow morning at 9 PT with a new episode of Movie Talk.